Hi, today we're going to take a look at Leuven in Belgium on a trip organised in association with Visit Flanders and Visit Leuven. Our trip to Leuven was part of a road trip that also included Ghent and Mechelen. The ranges on our trip make it easily accessible with an electric car too. Or if you want to travel by rail, Leuven is just 30 minutes from Brussels. We will centre ourselves around the Grote Markt and head out as far as Park Abbey, which is just over 1.2 miles or 2 kilometres from the centre of town. And in our visit we'll also look at the Oude Markt, the University Library, M Leuven and the Great Beguinage, as well as places to eat and drink on your visit. So without further ado, let's go and explore Leuven. And the building that has immediately caught your eye on our left is the Stadhuis, or Town Hall. This is a great place to sit down, grab a tea, coffee or maybe a beer, because I think you're in Belgium's unofficial beer capital. As you probably guessed it's a bit touristy, but with views like that, you'd expect it to be. With all the places I mention here, there'll be links in the description for further information, like the most central place to stay in Leuven, the Fourth, and St Peter's Church, which we'll discover more of in a while. Now, I know I'm starting early, but if you want a beer, then a good place to start is Oude Markt, or Old Market, described as the longest bar in Europe. Actually, it's lots of individual bars, and if that leaves you confused, Visit Leuven have a beer map for you with some recommendations. Yep, the link's in the description below. But it's not all beer, the range of food is stunning too. From traditional Flemish to, well, everything else, and all budgets are covered too. So you're not going to go hungry or thirsty in Leuven, that's for sure. Part of the reason for that diversity is the city's large student population. Recognised by Fonsk, this statue to Leuven's rich history and education. Our next destination is via the Friday market. You didn't expect me to try and pronounce that, did you? Anyway, the water feature represents the city centre with the River Deiler that we discovered in Mechelen and all the major roads leading to St Peter's Church. However, we're here to see the University Library. But that's not before we get distracted by Totem, an art installation featuring a beetle skewered on a 23-metre tall needle. Now you don't see that every day. The original university library was built in the 17th century and was located in the cloth hall near the Grote Markt. During World War I, the library was destroyed along with its collection of historical books and manuscripts. This neo-Renaissance style building was started in 1921 and opened in 1928. When we step inside, that period will jump out at you in the interior design. You must remember this is a library first and foremost, so shh. Silence, please. It's like a scene from an Art Nouveau, Art Deco Harry Potter world. And if you're wondering where all the students are, well, it's a Saturday morning. And we discovered that in Belgium it's common for students to return home at the weekend, dirty laundry in tow, awaiting a home-cooked meal. There are a few local and those international students to be found lurking around though. And I should mention the reading room is only open at weekends. The University Library forms part of KU Leuven, founded in 1425, the oldest university in the Low Countries. You can also climb the 289 steps of the library tower and enjoy views over the city and the Low Countries beyond. However, the weather conspired against us, so we skipped the experience. We're now going to take a look at M Leuven, the city's museum and gallery. M Leuven has an impressive collection of contemporary and historical pieces, as well as temporary exhibitions throughout the year. The range of collections is vast, with areas of focus such as religious art, but don't imagine for one moment that sets the scene, because next you're in a gallery blending the old with the new. The other thing you will notice is the mixture of interconnecting spaces that the museum occupies. So if there's something that doesn't appeal to you in one area, the next very well may do. There are a lot of historically significant pieces here, as well as contemporary works that get you thinking. And now a look at St Donatus Park, in which you'll find one of the earliest parts of Leuven, a tower from the city's medieval walls. Another part of Leuven's historical past is the Grand Beguinage, a village within a city. If you'd caught my videos on Ghent or Mechelen, you would have heard of the Beguinages, which together are recognised by UNESCO as sites of historical and cultural importance. A Beguinage is a community set up in the Middle Ages by women, the Beguines, to support other women who had fallen on hard times through no fault of their own. The Beguines remained single themselves, followed their Christian God, but did not take vows. They built a community, sometimes incorporating a hospital, even a brewery in the case of Mechelen. The river that runs through the Grand Beguinage of Leuven is the Deiler, the river we explored in Mechelen. This Beguinage can date its foundation to 1234, but the buildings we see are much later, from the 17th century. You'll find it a quiet little corner of Leuven, a perfect little oasis. The Beguinage is now part of the KU Leuven University campus and is used to house academics. The last Beguine died in 1988 and the last priest of the Beguine community died in 1977 at the age of 107. He is buried in the graveyard of Park Abbey, which we're going to take a look at next. Park Abbey is about 1.5 miles, 2.5 kilometres walk from the centre of Leuven, or you can jump on a bus. There is also a car park with a charging point should you want to boost while you explore. So a little history on Park Abbey. It was once a game reserve of Count Godfrey I of Leuven, and in 1129 he donated the grounds to the Norbertine Abbey of Laon in northern France. The Norbertine fathers, with their distinctive white habits, have lived at the abbey ever since. A tour of the abbey, accompanied by an audio guide, gives you an in-depth view of life here over the centuries, as well as detail on the beautiful stucco ceilings in both the refectory and the library. In the library there are rather strange lounges, designed so you can enjoy the stucco work as the audio guide synchronises with the lighting of the ceiling. Here is told the story of the life of St Norbert. Your tour continues around the abbey, through the prelature or abbot's residence, with his own library, chapel, office and bedroom. You now step into the reception rooms, restored to their 18th century splendour. You feel like you've stepped back a few hundred years. The next stop on our tour is the reception hall, where visitors would have waited to be greeted by the abbot. How long you waited depended on your standing. Finally, the entrance. Impressive but not too ostentatious. However, a visit to Park Abbey is more than just a look at the abbey itself. There's the church and graveyard. However, when we visited there was a funeral service in progress. We opted for a stroll through the park, past the lakes, and enjoyed the tranquility of the setting. Our bus journey back took us via Leuven's main railway and bus station, where you can find the Monument to Peace. It was originally created after the First World War to commemorate those who lost their lives fighting. It was destroyed by the Nazis when they occupied Belgium in World War II, but as you can see, it's been restored. We decided to take a closer look when we left the city on the Sunday morning, and again, another area that looks like it can keep you fed and watered. It's just over half a mile from here to the Grote Markt. But if you find yourself here, check out the Balloon of Friendship, a lovely piece of public art, which is fitting because we found Leuven so friendly. But we're not alone. It was recognised as the best European destination in 2022, renowned for its inclusivity. Now let's take a look at St Peter's Church. And the first thing you may notice is the towers. They seem incomplete. Built in the 15th century, in the 16th century plans to add additional towers ran out of steam because the ground it was built on was a bit soft and funds were not flowing as they wished. But that has not stopped the towers being recognised by UNESCO as a significant belfry of Belgium and France. And it's still a beautiful church, especially when you step inside. One of the things you'll notice is a model of those towers. They are impressive and they would have made this one of the world's tallest structures at the time. However, inside it looks the same and you are greeted with this Gothic masterpiece. And as we discovered in Mechelen, the woodworkers of the region know how to create a magnificent pulpit. Although this is not the original, that was sold during the French occupation of the Low Countries. This was transferred from Abbey Church of M Leuven in Flanders, but this is a 17th century original piece. The church was damaged heavily in both world wars, but the restoration has been sympathetic. If you want to discover more of the church's history and the artworks contained within it, you can opt for the augmented reality tour. Either via a headset or a tablet, additional information is displayed in front of you with an accompanying audio guide. It's similar to the experience at St Barbo's in Ghent to see the Ghent altarpiece. Around the side you'll find many little chapels, such as the Brewer's Chapel. You'll also discover some important works of art, such as the 15th century Last Supper by Dirk Boutz. Leuven is one of Flanders' state-of-the-art cities, along with Antwerp, Ghent, Brussels, Bruges and Mechelen. Flanders' heritage and the magnificent works of art by their Flemish masters can be viewed firsthand in many churches and museums. And then another highlight of our visit to St Peter's, a chance to hear the church organ in action, with a little twist. We're now going to take a look at Leuven once the sun has started to set. Taking a stroll from our fabulous accommodation at the Penta Hotel Leuven, the choice of restaurants is amazing. I must call out the wonderful troubadour, traditional Flemish dishes served in a stylish restaurant with a superb front of house team. As I mentioned earlier, there are so many choices, you just need to decide what works for you. You may have guessed, but we're heading towards the Grote Markt because as good as it looks by day, I think it looks magical at dusk. So what are your thoughts on Leuven? Does it look like somewhere you'd love to visit? Or have you been? We'd love to know, so leave us a comment. And if you've enjoyed this, then why not give us a like? We'd appreciate that. While I'm at it, why not subscribe so you don't miss any of our future travels? Now let's take a look at the University Library at Dusk. You can really see that beetle now. Another place I need to shout out is the De Horn Bar and Restaurant. We had a fabulous evening, all thanks to JP, our server on the night, set in the former Stella Artois brewery building. That's right, as we return to Oude Markt, Stella Artois was born in Leuven as a Christmas beer in 1926. It proved so popular, well, you know the story. In fact, the world headquarters of Anheuser-Busch InBev are here in Leuven. As we've returned to the longest bar in Europe and the night is drawing in, it's only right that I say thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and happy travels.